Now's the right time to start. So, can you all hear me first of all? Like loud and clear, no issues with the tech, correct? Brilliant. I'm going to assume silence is golden. So on that instance, so thank you all for coming along. Laura reached out to me probably about what, 4 weeks ago, something like that, thereabouts, to come and do like a little bit of a chat about NPSI. So this is the first Eve Uni NPSI week. So I'm super excited to be here, presenting a little presentation to you, basically to tell you about the glorious world of NPSI and tell you how awesome it is. So I've got some slides. I'm going to have it's just a little informal kind of thing. So I'm just going to go through now. So during the course of this presentation, I'm going to talk to you today about the concept of NPSI. What is NPSI, its origins, why and how and where you can get involved with NPSI. I'm going to do a Q&A at the end, so don't be shy about asking questions. Save them to the end though. I'm not going to be able to keep up with any other chat. I presume there is a chat going on somewhere. I haven't actually opened it up yet because I don't want to get distracted. So a couple of things right before we even start. But those of you that might have seen some of my presentations before, like done at FanFest and also for Eve Uni, you're going to recognise some of these slides. Don't panic. There is some new stuff. So buckle up, get ready, sit back, relax, think about all things purple. And so to kick off with the presentation, I'm going to introduce myself. I think that's the most logical thing. So my name's Keacte. I started playing Eve Online in around 2004. It's actually 21 years back in fact, it's probably about 2 weeks ago, maybe something like that. I think it was. So I started in 2004. I went on a training course run by Agni Unleashed. And sort of since that time, I've been hooked on PvP. After Agni closed their doors in 2018, I set up Fun Inc. With the basic premise of it being a safe haven for small gang PvPers. And sort of since that time, since 2018, things have kind of snowballed. Eventually, I set up NPSI.rocks, which is a public calendar for, it's now nearly 30 NPSI groups, public groups. And it's really important that they are public groups, not kind of closed. We're actually the only NPSI Eve partner group. And I'm very, very proud of that because we're actually the youngest, or one of the youngest when I set up the calendar. So in my spare time, I'm also the alliance lead for the Ancients, which is, for those of you that haven't heard of us, you probably won't have heard of us in all fairness. We're the one true NPSI alliance. Basically a lot of our FCs and fleet members, alliance members are FCs for a variety of NPSI groups. In my spare time, in inverted commas, I'm also a fleet commander and streamer. You'll probably pick up with this over the course of this presentation. I'm a long-term NPSI advocate, and I've FC'd many hundreds of fleets within Eve. I know certainly for Shrink Wrapped, we're nearly up to 400. I've kind of lost count of how many fleets I've actually FC'd, which is a bit weird because but those that know me would imagine there would be a spreadsheet somewhere. So I'm sure there is some way of calculating it, I'm sure. So the reason why we're all here is to find out about NPSI. So what is NPSI? NPSI is not purple shoot it. It's publicly accessible PvP content set out to engage any target that we can find. So quite simply, it's fleeting up with the mentality of if you're not with me, you're against me. So in real sort of practical terms, for in Eve, this means that anyone who is in your fleet, who by default will appear as purple on your overview and in your brackets, is your friend, and everything else is a valid target. So it's basically everything that is on your overview that isn't purple, you shoot. I personally think it's the most accessible and quite often the most rewarding PvP content available in Eve at the moment. It is content on demand and it is readily available. I firmly believe that NPSI is becoming one of the most accessible forms of PvP to any Eve player. That's from new players right up to bitter vets, as we call them, sort of thing. So you'll know what a bit of vet is in 10 years' time. I've got a really super quick video that will give you some of the top level stuff, top level concepts about NPSI. So let's have a quick look.
Imagine a world where you don't need alliances or coalitions. A world where you can dive straight into battle, with no strings attached. Welcome to the universe of NPSI, not purple shoot it, where every fleet is a chance for glory, and every pilot is a potential comrade. At NPSI.rocks, we believe in the thrill of the fight. Our motto is quite simple: if you're not with us, you're against us. No alliances, no coalitions, just you, your ship, and your fleetmates, your grit and determination, and the next target on grid. NPSI.rocks is a calendar made by players, for players, putting freedom and fun first, and is your one-stop guide to public content on demand. The calendar is updated daily with fleets from all over New Eden. Whether it's a fast roam game, or a cloaky game, or a full-scale assault, you can just log in and get ready for battle. Welcome to the frontier of EVE Online, where NPSI is more than a strategy, it's a call to arms. Choose your destiny. Choose NPSI.rocks. Head to our website for more details on how you can get involved.
Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that video, to be fair. So you kind of you'll understand, broadly speaking, some of the basic concepts of NPSI, and broadly speaking, you've got a sense of hopefully a sense of what it's about. Where did it come from? Now, depending on who you actually speak with, you'll get a variety of stories about the origins of NPSI. You'll hear names such as RVB, you'll hear about Bombers Bar, Spectre Fleet, so on and so forth. Now, all of those groups will be sort of name dropped at various intervals, and a whole range of people in between will stake their claim, in inverted commas, to NPSI. Now, that's great. However, I firmly believe that the concept of NPSI it was actually founded way before any of these groups actually even existed. Some, a good sort of 3, 4, 5 years sort of thing. And I'm going to take you back. Like I said, in 2006, Agni Unleashed was a new corporation and a group of players who wanted to teach new players. So very, very similar ideal to EVE University. So we wanted to teach new players PvP. And they did so. They did this through their basic PvP training course and their university. And it was off of these classes that the basic concept of NPSI was born. Agni actually, I believe numbers wise, I think there were about 10,000, might have even been up to 11,000 graduates of that class and that course. And we fleeted up with random people, gave them the basic skills to start PvPing, and went out and just killed stuff, basically on a fortnightly roam and class. So in effect, what Agni did for EVE was set up an ideal, a base level concept. We X'd up in a channel, we jumped into naked clones, but no strings attached PvP. You didn't need to join a corp, you didn't need to be in an alliance, you just needed to be in a channel at the right place and at the right time. And so, anyhow, I kind of segued there slightly, but regardless as to who started, it's been here for like 20 years now. So NPS has been around for a long time. It's not going away. In fact, the uptick and growth in NPSI over the last few years has been insane. It's been absolutely tremendous to sort of see. And that in part is by, you guys and girls coming onto the roams and so on and so forth, and support from CCP and so on. So it's tremendous amount of growth, really. So we've kind of touched on what NPSI is, and hopefully you've got a sort of broad top level understanding of what it is, its origins, and I've chatted briefly about those and some of the history of NPSI. Now I'm gonna kind of shift now on focusing on why NPSI and the context behind why people want to fly NPSI. I like this little picture. Some of you may not have seen this before, though. So just spend sort of 5 or 10 seconds having a look at it. And it should be fairly self-explanatory, and you should recognize this. Okay, so you've probably had about 4 or 5 seconds. That might be sufficient. I think you've probably got it. It looks at the difference between most MMOs and EVE Online, and it sums up pretty perfectly why people would rather not join a corporation or alliance. So the NPSI aficionados fall into the category on the left. These are people that don't want fuss. They just want content without barriers to accessibility. They want to shoot things with lasers. They want to hit people with the pointy stick, basically. That's very much the people that the NPSI players on the left. NPSI enables inclusion. We have new player fleets every Wednesday, fortnight, I believe it is. We've had players that have joined those that are less than 3 hours old. In game, obviously, not in real life. That would be weird. And this is what is key about it. There is no barrier to entrance. There's no ESIs. There's no interviews. There's no blood tests. There's no urine samples. There's no BS. It's just inclusion of new pilots, embracing their own potential, and showing off a game that we all love. Let's face it. Some of us have got a wealth of experience, wealth of time in game, and we love playing EVE at the end of the day. So what I've got next is I kind of thought, what better way of answering why NPSI question? And it's by asking the NPSI community themselves to find out what motivates them to log in and join a fleet. I've got another quick video for you, so just sit tight and hopefully you'll hear this again. This is what they said.
IFC NPSI fleets because it's pure PvP with no strings attached. There's no timers, Diplo, or politics. I can come up with whatever doctrines I like and go wherever I want. It's just my fleet and whoever we can find to shoot.
NPSI is the pure spirit of EVE. Like-minded people from different backgrounds setting aside their different tickers to band together with the singular goal of blowing up spaceships.
After years of living in nullsec, I realised that I'm too time poor to maintain that level of commitment, but I still wanted to be able to have fights with no pressure or hassle, and also I like being able to fly stuff that doesn't necessarily bankrupt my character.
Hi, I'm Varian. For me, NPSI is all about the explosions. Just having a good time blowing up ships with your buddies in fleet.
Hey, my name is Renro. I chose NPSI because there's content almost every hour of every day, a variety of doctrines, and no worries about blues, solve, or timers.
Doing quality PvP and often trying, new ship and fleets in complete freedom, without all that goes with being in an active core.
Hey, I'm Skopik from Fun Inc. For me, NPSI is all about the people, the community. No boring duties or commitments. I can just do what I like most, whenever I want.
I fly NPSI because it means I can go anywhere and shoot anything with no restrictions from a corp or an alliance.
Why I fly NPSI? I would say variety and freedom. You can choose the type of fleets you want to join: nullsec fights, stealth bomber fleets, CSS robbing, low-sec roaming, PvE fleets, wormhole diving, just to name a few. You're also not limited to any certain type of content or doctrine ship. There's no obligations, no alarm clocks, CTA fleets, no need to get peplinks, no mandatory structure bashing, etc. You can just go and join a fleet whenever you feel like it.
Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. You will have recognised quite a few of the voices, hopefully. Some of your FCs, some of your support pilots, and so on and so forth. So those of you with bonus, you will hopefully recognise quite a few of them. What NPSI does, though, is it offers PvP content on demand. It's inclusive, it's open, it's accessible, it's visible. It's really, really simple to get involved. The bottom line is that it allows for no strings attached PvP. As I mentioned earlier, as I kind of alluded to earlier, the interest in NPSI and growth in NPSI actually has been huge. Many of the larger groups, your Spectre fleets and so on and so forth, they actually often run multiple fleets per day. I mean, Funning, for example, we're a EU time zone group, so predominantly our content is around EU time zone, but obviously Spectre fleet is cross boundaries, cross time zones, likewise with Bombers Bar, fleets all the time, basically. And it's really, really easy to get involved. You don't have to be set an alarm clock. You can just rock up to the website, have a look, see what's there, and just go out and kill stuff. This is I was I was slightly reluctant to put this slide in. I'm kind of glad that I did, as I think it's a pretty good demonstration to show you how active NPSI is and how how busy it can be. Now, this is a graph, obviously, showing my kills and losses from 2007 up until I think about middle of June 2025. Usual colours, kills in green, losses in red, but I've got moving average in place just to actually readability. Now, my game time when I started playing Eve was possibly, in inverted commas, possibly a touch excessive. I loved Eve when I started out. I still love it now, but I kind of was so gripped by it, and I was just learning it and playing it, learning it, and trying to learn how to PvP and so on and so forth. It took a few years because I didn't start doing PvP until like sort of say 2007, 8 or whatever it was. I probably played it a bit too much at the start, if I'm honest. I logged in quite a few hours, probably 4 times, maybe 5 times a week, sort of thing. And you can probably see that there's a trend from sort of 2008 up until 2012, with an increase in kills and also death. From 2012, there's a slight attrition in both deaths and kills until around about 2017. Now, this I kind of believe was more was the natural evolution of the corporation of Agony Unleashed, and it kind of mirrors your and this is slightly off tangent, but it's totally related. It mirrors your birth, growth, maturity, decline, and death cycle of nature for living organisms. You can use it for organizations, so on and so forth. Effectively, what happened was people that were playing Eve, they grew up, in inverted commas, grew up. They met their partners, they settled down, they had children, they got married, and so on and so forth. And their game time dropped off. Now, I think it's quite evident in sort of 2008 to 2017, like the stats there. Now, you kind of hit 2020. We all know what happened in 2020. Now, obviously COVID, everyone's game time spiraled probably because we couldn't go anywhere. We were all at home and so on and so forth. So you could argue that the kills in the period of 2020 and beyond was because everyone was at home. Now, you'd actually be wrong in this instance for me. And the reason why I say this is I set up Bunning in 2018, and I wanted to set a consistent schedule for myself and for my gaming. And so what I did was I set up quite a regime. So I either fleet up on Tuesdays and Thursdays or Thursdays and Saturdays. And I've done it pretty much consistently since around about 2018. I started running NPSI fleets in 2018, and the volume of content, the volume of kills, and the volume of fun in NPSI is absolutely clear. The content that NPSI has afforded me since 2018 is like nothing that I've experienced before in EVE Online. And hopefully that kind of demonstrates that pretty nicely. For the first 10 years, effectively, it was fairly 1,000 kills a year, which if you think about it, probably 100 kills, a month, quarter, something like that. Look, the numbers kind of speak for itself, really, and hopefully that has demonstrated that nicely. So the next section I think is the most important section, and it's how you can get involved. In real terms, this is really, really simple. There are numerous ways you can get involved. The easiest way, I think, and I am slightly biased in this, the easiest way to get involved and to see content at a glance is to go to npsi.rocks. It's an aggregated public calendar with many of the major groups, if not all of the major groups, in one place. There's also the accompanying funding Discord, where all of the fleets that are listed and where all the fleet pings are sent out to. So every fleet that goes out onto the calendar, you will receive a ping on the associated Discord. Join that server, you will not miss out. I know Laura and Major, they've also got them integrated through to EPME's Discord as well, I believe, which is awesome. Perfect use of the fly function, which I absolutely love. Now, in addition to this, obviously you've got the website, npsi.rocks, and you've got funding Discord. In addition to this, you can join as many of the NPSI Discords as you want. There's pretty much every group has their own sort of dedicated Discord. You'll see about rage pings for like Bombers Bar, Spectre Fleet, so on and so forth, where they might go out and tackle a high value target like a Rorqual or something like that, and then they'll do a rage ping and about something's being tackled. And there's also very, very ad hoc short notice fleets, which sometimes don't actually hit the calendar for Google APIs. But enough of that said. Also, there's all the groups have their own in-game channels. But again, your best place is NPSI Rocks. I'm totally biased in that regard, but I think it's fairly evident why. Go and look at the website. I don't think having 10 or 15 or 20 Discords is an easier way to see the content. I think you'll see it on the website with greater ease. So the next slide I've done, it gives you a real quick overview on the website and some of its functionality. So let's have a look. So you can see the homepage with fleets happening that day and also details of the ping. There's also a calendar view showing all the planned fleets each day. Each host has an information page with their Discord, comms, and XOP channel, and all their sort of salient information. I'll just wait a second, go on to the FC bios. There's also fleet commander bios, which give you a little bit more information about the individual FCs. Not everybody's completed their bios. Some people don't like to blab about what they do and who they are and so on and so forth, but I thought it was a nice function. And within those pages, you'll also find out about what type of fleets they run and what they like to do in fleet. And only got a few more slides really. So the last couple of content slides from me, they're about how you can help NPSI. I think it's a valid thing. And I summarize this very, very succinctly. I've played this game for a long time, and I spent years not really doing much to help other than sort of being a passenger. I was kind of following what other people do. To get the most out of EVE, you've got to change your mindset. If 1% of players are content creators and 99% of players are followers, what's going to happen when the 1% burn out? You're not going to have any content creators. That's when the 99% become disheartened with the game. And EVE, it's still, saying Eve's dying. Eve's dying because the 1% hasn't logged in to run a fleet or to take, do a mining fleet or do a PvP trip, whatever it is. Now, how you can help is really, it's very, very, very simple. It's about you. You have got the power to take part. You've got the power to support. You've got the power to engage with the game. So if you like the sound of NPSI, and find something within NPSI that you enjoy. Now, it could be skirmishing, it could be running dictators, it could be running boosters, it could be running, like Logi, it could be going as a scout or a skirmisher, or it could be going as a prober. It could be flying dedicated ships like E-war frigates, like hyenas or sentinels or whatever it is. When you start attending NPSI rounds, if you support the FC and if you support the NPSI group and take yourself out that comfort zone, you will get more out of it. You will get more enjoyment out of it, and you will get more. I don't want to go into like the biology of it, but when you learn and so on and so forth, it releases chemicals in your brain, and you get really like super excited and so on and so forth. So if you do that, you're going to get more out of the game and more for your experience. If that makes sense. So. That's really how you can help. But how you can help, this is kind of like the super quick whistle stop tour. Logging in and Xing up for a fleet. There's nothing more disheartening in Eve for an FC than logging in for a fleet, than to log in for a fleet rather, and not get people attend. FCs will get disheartened. They've taken themselves out of their comfort zone, and it is quite a big thing stepping up to FC. I don't know how many FCs are in the channel, so on and so forth. But anybody that is, they would have taken that leap to kind of step out of their comfort zone, to lead people into battle. When no one shows up, it's so disheartening. It's pretty much soul destroying. I'll be honest with you. I've seen people step up to FC, no one turn up, and then you never hear a peep out of them again because they've thought, well, hang on, I've tried it, no one turned up, so I'm not going to do it again. That's straight away that I use the word resource. That resource is now burnt. That person's not going to come back. They're not going to do it again. Another really, really easy way is to just take a support role. When you do log in for a fleet, X up for a fleet invite, take a support role, take a skirmish role position, try flying an interdictor, try flying a command destroyer or a logistics ship. Something, guaranteed you'll get more out doing it than you will just from smashing F1 and F2 for your prop mod or whatever. If you support those content creators by heading along to their fleets, having fun and supporting what they do, the content in Eve without them and without those players doing that, at best it's bland, at worst it's dead. You're not going to find anything. And my last thing I would say is, last but no means least, is spread the word. Tell people about NPSI. Tell people about the fleets that you're going on. Shout about good experiences. Tell a friend about the fleets. Bring a friend along. Get active in them. Get in fleet, and get NPSI as vibrant as we can physically do it. As we can physically do so. By helping us help you get the content that you deserve. I've left one point in there right at the very, very bottom. And this is the kind of, I don't want to say contentious one, but, and it's I was reluctant to put it in basically, but I included donate on the list. SRP is something that people have come to expect. It's not something that in the past, it's the old expression, fly what you can afford to lose. That kind of time has now shifted on for some reason. Don't know why, don't know how, but it has. So the expectation is that SRP will be there. That is cast to come from somewhere. Time spent by FCs, not FC, by having to grind, in effect, is time not spent on NPSI, and NPSI suffers through the absence of those FCs. For me, an average fleet is anywhere from 4 to 5 hours, potentially. That's 4 hours that I'm not going to be able to grind or make any money. Now, I know that I'm not alone on this. Now, I don't misunderstand me. Don't misunderstand this comment. These are people in need there are people in need that do donate to enable SRP to exist. And if you're one of those people, we'll gladly accept any sort of donations and so on and so forth, as it really does help us. The last slide is about how to become or how to be a good fleet member. Now, just I've kind of included a really, really quick top level summary of this. It serves two purposes. It serves to support your FC, but it serves to keep you engaged. So in effect, if you take a role, you take the weight off the FC, and you support that FC. And I always sort of say this: turn off all distractions, listen to the FC. The FC doesn't want to have to repeat orders 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So in effect, turn off any distractions, turn off Facebook, YouTube, or whatever you're watching, listening, so on and so forth. So that it allows you to listen to and follow orders. An engaged pilot is somebody who is focused. If you're focused, you're concentrating. If you're not concentrating, you're distracted. That's the cut and thrust of it. you have to be your own pilot as well. I always say that. I can't fly your ship, only you can fly your ship. It would be great if we could take control of your ship or help you, assist you flying for, just even for like learning purposes and so on and so forth. But we can't do that. So you have to be your own pilot. Now, I kind of always include this one because there's always somebody in fleet that wants to backseat FC. They will backseat drive you. They will always chime in with some comment about what we should have done, how we should have done this, and so on and so forth. That's fine. Well, it's not fine actually in my eyes, but anyway, they're entitled to their opinion. Don't vocalize it. That's what I would say is it's disrespectful to the FC. Just don't do it. It's this really simple thing. It erodes the FC's confidence. It erodes the FC's. If you erode that FC's confidence, they will not FC. If you want to backseat, just run your own fleet. It's as simple as that. So cut and trust of it. Those kind of top level points are support your FC, turn up to fleets, get active, get involved, support the content creators. Without FCs, Eve can be pretty dull. I think we can all probably agree on that, really. Unless you're a solo pilot, of course. So that's pretty much it from me. I think I'm pretty much on the money at half hour. I think that was, or a little bit after. I know it's a really, really quick whistle stop tour. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know it was obviously a quick run through, so on and so forth. Hopefully everybody kind of got what I was talking about and kind of understood and so on. So if there's any questions, just crack on, ask.
Hi, Keacte. Thank you for your lecture. I'm more interested in the politics of the NPSI. I was speaking to. I wanted to join an NPSI group with a friend from a corp, and they said they weren't allowed to join because there's a chance they'll have to shoot their alliance members and all the blues and whatever. Do you ever have any problems with things like that? What happens if half your fleet refrains from taking part in a fight mid-fleet because it's someone that they are blue to?
Right. It's a very, very good question. From my perspective, I don't have any blues, so I don't have any problem with shooting anybody. I appreciate fleet members will have blues and so on and so forth. Now, use this as an example. If we filament into an unknown area space and we land in, I don't know, Brave space, just for argument's sake. Well, in fact, I won't even say an organization, ABC space. And ABC is blue with XYZ, and I have 5 XYZ members in fleet. For one, it sucks to be them. Because they've come out on their own, they've filamented into basically their back pocket. So it's kind of awkward for them. They've got a couple of things that they could do. They could just disengage. They could drop fleet. I personally wouldn't recommend that. And the reason why I wouldn't recommend that is because the fleets that I run are incredibly mobile. We can land in one region and then 15 minutes later, we can be 3 regions away. And that anybody that's flying with me will know that is not an exaggeration. It is literally not an exaggeration. So I would say politics for me is non-existent. Politics for other organizations is totally down with those organizations. I would say if you are ever in that situation, do not engage. Just purely because it's going to be a headache. One guy, actually, in all fairness, true story, I got a message from one person after a fleet, and he said, I had a fantastic time, absolutely amazing time. But the corporation that he was in actually fined him 1 billion ISK for going on that fleet. And I just thought, what is that all about? I mean, that is just like, I could not believe it. I felt like sending in the ISK myself and just saying, here you go, here's, crack on. Because
1 billion.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it never fails to amaze me. That's like scamming 101. That is, that's worse than Jita scamming. That is. But all jokes aside, that you can't mitigate for your own the politics which exist within a specific organization. The only thing I would say is if you're in an organization that literally is blocking you from doing something like NPSI and you want to do it, I would strongly take a look. I'm not going to say take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror, but take a long, hard, think about what exactly. Think about what motivates you and what is blocking you from having fun. At the end of the day, this is a game about space pixels. It's not meant to be about. It's meant to be about having fun, not putting barriers up for people having fun. I mean, that's just totally counterintuitive. You wouldn't see that from me. I mean, literally if I'm not in fleet, as in if I'm not fleeting up, people in corp, in my corporation, obviously Fanning, they will be out and about in any number of NPSI roams. We've actually come across some of our own corp mates in one fleet, and we've been in an opposing fleet, and we've engaged and we've killed them. It's no hard done. Nobody gets irate or frustrated or so on and so forth. It's we had fun in the process and had a good old laugh. I mean, that's what this is about. This is totally what it's about. It's not about anything else but that. So
I personally believe it's honorable to be able to fight a friend, to engage with them in that capacity. That's rather than a survey. Yeah, it's rewarding in more ways than one.
Yeah, I'd rather be as a shit kicked out by something I know than not. No. So hopefully that answers. I mean, it really depends on the circumstances. I mean, that's what I'd say is that some alliances, corps, they just point blank block NPSI. If the content that they're providing on a day-to-day basis is better, in inverted commas, I'm not saying it's better and or worse doing NPSI. If it allows them, if it provides them the content that they want, fine, crack on. That's fine. Let them do that. That's purely their discretion, their decision. I mean,
And I've got one last question, which is maybe also a comment, is something that you didn't speak about, but I think perhaps could play quite a strong role, especially in attracting more people, more players to the fleets, is because the NPSI is unaligned, it can attract many different people from different parts of the games and experience levels, and then they bring their skills and knowledge into a melting pot, and then we can all learn together. So it's a place to share your knowledge of the game. And I feel like that's what happened with Eve Uni, because we go on a lot of NPSI rooms, well, not a lot, but on the weekends. And it seems to me that those FCs have learned maybe from you, maybe from what you guys are doing.
I think it's a valid point. I didn't mention it in the presentation, but I'm actually in the process. We kind of brought back a like a light version. I'm going to call it a light version of the Agony Unleashed basic class. What I've done is I've set up the new Fun Inc. Eve Rookies new player space program, newbie space program, I think called it. I haven't got it in front of me, so I can't. NSP basically. And what it is, it's every fortnight we have a new player roam. So it's a PvP roam. It moves very, very slowly. So it tells you about aligning, how to align, what to align to, tells you about taking gates and so on and so forth. So very simple things about simple fleet movements, and then goes into more details about what primary target is, secondary is about, talks about gate mechanics and that sort of stuff. But what we've done is we've kind of every 2 weeks we have a specialist class. So we've got a class about skirmishing. We've also got a class about how to fly interdictors, what types of bubbles, what boosters are, command destroyers, links, also how to fly logic piloting, probing, this sort of thing. So it's like every fortnight we have a basic class, and then on alternate fortnights we have one of the specialist class plus a basic class sort of thing. So I think the program lasts about, I want to say it's about 10 weeks, something like that. 14 weeks, something like that. I can't actually remember. Basically, you can jump in or jump out whenever. completely free. You don't have to pay for it or anything like that. If you want to come and learn how to skirmish, drop into the skirmish class. You then don't have to see us for another 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever it is. Then drop into the interdiction class. Learn about interdictors.
I hope that gets advertised here because,
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm actually in the process of doing a number of videos. I've done. It's quite funny actually, because what I've noticed with like YouTube metrics and so on is that I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm like mid-40s. I seem to have. I'm not going to say a great attention span, but nowadays apparently we have to get every bit of information into a 2-minute video, and it's really, really difficult. Like super hard to actually do it. So in effect, what I'm trying to do is set up a load of videos, which are just like bite-sized videos about how to skirmish, how to fight it, how to.
I perhaps can give you maybe a bit of ideas about that. Is I see potentially what people can do is they can create previews of the larger course. So you have that a step-by-step list, which is a short 10-second or 1-minute video, or just a short that just has a quick summary of the topics there that you then going to speak about. So if you don't have time, you can watch the short version, but if you do have time, then you can watch the 1-hour version.
Yeah, and that's exactly the sort of thing we're trying to do with the classes. Is do a combination of teaching. So it's like a hard, I'm not going to say a hard lecture, but it's like a standard lecture, where somebody's talking to you like I am now, but interspersed with having a video for 2 minutes, because watching a video is so much easier than kind of watching it, listening to somebody say about something, if that makes sense.
Quite. I think interaction helps with the learning process more than anything else. The passive learning is okay, but you have to interact for your brain to make proper connections.
Yeah. Picture speeds 1,000 words as well. I think that's clarifies it pretty makes it pretty simple. But no, very good point there. Thank you.
I got a question about targets. So it's pretty new to the game, but I noticed a lot of these PvP fleets that join like to spend 90% of the time looking for people to kill. Because it's not the right people? Do these fleets just attack literally the closest thing they see, and then doesn't that lead to a lot of fleets just getting obliterated for that reason?
Right. That's another good point. I'll be honest with you. I mean, there's one or two ways that I find targets. Depending on the fleet size. I will either go in via filament into nullsec, or I will go in via Thera. What we do, I'd say, moreover, we go in via Thera because we're generally larger than 25 in fleet. We raid anywhere. We look to see where there are kill, where there's activity. So ratting, mining activity, that sort of thing. Because of the doctrine I run is combat interceptors and fast T1 frigates. So it's cheap as chips. You move super quick. I do fly quite aggressively. However, there is a reason behind that. The reason why I fly aggressively is people totally underestimate how much damage 30 T1 frigates and or 35 interceptors will do. You get somebody who, I mean, we've killed. I killed a Thanatos that undocked to try his tank on us. He didn't realize he couldn't dock up on that structure. He died about 10 minutes later. It took us a bit of time, but we killed Thanatoses. We killed an Apostle the other day. I can't list all the things that we've killed. I mean, we've killed nearly 3 trillion interactors. Put it this way, we have not lost that amount. We've most definitely haven't. I can tell you that for free. But what I would say is that in terms of where to go, it really doesn't. I don't go to a specific area. I go to where there is content. So if it happens to be in Brave space or in Horde space or Goon space or wherever, it might be a moving up going on, so on and so forth. We go to where that content is. So we'll look at Zkill, you look at the deltas on Dotland, so on and so forth, and make a decision based on that. There's no point in going somewhere that there's no content. I'd rather run around and punch yourself in the face for 45 minutes than do that.
Okay, so it's not literally not like you see it. It's not like literally that target. Like if you undock somewhere and there's like people to shoot, you don't immediately just shoot whoever.
no.
Just okay.
It's no, absolutely not. I mean, I'm not. I don't throw fleets away unless it's smart bombing battleships with the sign up. That's a bad joke, but anyway. No, I mean, we're more selective. So we will go into nullsec. We will go hunting for targets. I'm not going out there for cheap ganks. I don't want to gank a Ferox gating because there's no fun in that. I mean, obviously you get a kill in the process. What I want to do is I want to get us a fleet fight. I want to get us a fight where we can fight outnumbered. We've taken on various staging groups in their home system with 700 people in local, and we've killed 30 billion in an evening. And that I'm not, hand up, I'm not over exaggerating that. Anybody that's been on our fleets will know that's not an exaggeration. Horde, we killed 35, I think it was 30 billion in one night using those exact exact kind of what's the word, kind of mechanics, if you see what I mean. Just people assume because they're in the greater a greater number in the fleet that they will then just by default they will beat you. It's just like it's not the case. It's just simply not the case. Better tactics, using probes. People totally miss probes on D-scan. They just don't even bother looking when they see 700 people in local because they just assume that they're going to be safe. You know what they say about assumption. Hopefully that answers that question. And if it doesn't, ask again.
Okay, I just wondering if it was like a literal name. Like I thought the group was literally just shooting everything, just no matter what. Either how terrible an idea or but it makes sense that this is you just be more aggressive. So that's great.
Yeah, I mean it's more. I think it's more strategic than perhaps perhaps that it may sound. There are groups that will go out there and just camp in low sat, camp certain gates, Tama, so on and so forth, the Bazan, whatever. Low sec to me is I'm not interested. You have to. There's a number of things that you have to do with low sec mechanics. You have to also maintain your sec status. I don't want to be limited in where I can go because I've shot something in low sec. It's just that's a whole. I don't have the time in my life to do that. If that makes sense. I play Eve twice a week, and I do all the other bits for the Corp, the Alliance, and so on and so forth in between. Sort of thing. I don't have the time to maintain a character other than that. I mean, it always amazes me. People, you must have an orc. You must have an orc. It's like, no, I have one character. I have always had one character, and I've never had a secondary character. And in all fairness, the 3 slots on my account, one is a trader to buy stuff to get it shipped to nullsec when Thera and Filament kind of thing. I now just base out Keacte, so that character is totally redundant anyway. And the third one is a alliance placeholder to have the ancient. So I literally, it's an honest one person, well, one tin, I should say.
Okay, sounds good.
Otherwise, but yeah. Any other questions? I see. I'm just gonna scan back on the chat and see if there is anything. Yeah, Delirium. Yes, I did have a spreadsheet for that. I sent it straight to Laura because it made me giggle. To be fair, I mean, it's I know I mentioned it about it. It's a perfect example of that spreadsheet having the peak to show. That's when I started doing NPSI and NPSI fleet, and it just shows you the number of kills just 5 times the amount I was getting in a traditional corp. And that's not knocking traditional corps. That's just saying I wanted to be able to log in, get kills, and log off, and that's basically exactly it. Gladius got 3,500, 3,200. Yeah, you'll be able to. I'll guarantee it, Gladius. If not in the AT, certainly before that. Angskell, just DM me. Have a look at my bio on Funning on the NPSI.rocks, and then just draft something up. I'll get you added to it. Right. And I don't see any other questions in there. I think there's one just recently.
So I heard there's going to be a fleet after this.
Yeah. I was just about to say, actually, in 35 minutes, I'll be running a fleet from G to 4-4. The public channel is, as is on the screen, EBWF public. Oh, I just missed out the C. Yeah, so that's the public channel to X up in. I'll be going out at about 35 minutes time. And we'll probably go out for about, I don't know, 3 hours, something like that, 3.5, 4 hours, something like that. We'll form up, take a bit of a bio after about an hour and a quarter, hour and a half, and reset watch list, so on and so forth, and then go out again. Exactly same principle. It literally will just be heading out to Nullsec, via Thera, just go hunting, looking for a fight, looking for some kills. The other night, I think what was the big thing we destroyed the other night? We did a Apostle. I know. What was it? We did something else the other night as well. Revelation, yeah. I forgot the Revelation. Yeah, that was quite funny, to be fair. The Revenge caught a Rev. So Rev caught a Rev, and I said, when you land, primary Rev. Which was not what I was wanting. Obviously, I wanted the Revelation primary, not Revenged. But yeah, so in 35 minutes we'll be doing that. You're all welcome to come along. As I mentioned to Laura, any RLSRP, any doctrine ships. So if you get lost mail, just DM me. If you do die, yeah, spy confirmed. If you do die, just DM me your lost mail, and I will sort you out. Like I sort of said, I'm happy to do it for you guys. And it will be, yeah, we'll go and kill some stuff. We move pretty quick. Okay.
One last question is the doctrine. What come up with the doctrine and what makes it good, and how can we join it? Like how can we be effective in that? Because I don't know anything about any of the ships that you're going to be using. And
so the doctrine itself, I called it shrink wrapped. It's basically combat interceptors. I focus. If you look at the slot configuration of the Raptor, it's perfect because you've got a utility mid slot for EWAR. You've also got tackle as well, so you can fit scram, whatever you can fit. Scram, damp, scram, point, whatever. You basically, so in effect, what I do is I balance the fleet beforehand. So we'll get, say, 13 fleet, and we'll have like 10 scrams, 10 points, and 10 webs, and loads of like tracking disruptors, and it's basically loads of EWAR and bundles of tackle and loads of DPS. If you think about it, a Raptor, so it's combat interceptor, Caldari race. It's about, I think it's about 250 DPS. Now, if you get to 10 of them at point blank range, you're doing a lot of damage, and you'll see battleships melt pretty quickly. Bigger targets will take a little bit longer, but you're killing something in a frigate, basically. So it's a little ship, but it's great killing big ships with little ships. I just think a lot of people, when they start EVE, they aspire to getting the big ships that you see in the trailers. I'll be honest with you. I think, and I see Loon in chat, and he'll be able to agree with this. I'm very, 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 very rarely in a battleship. And I'll be honest with you, up until probably about 3 years ago, I hated flying them because they're so slow. It's just dull. You just feel like you're just moving around so slowly, and small ships is where it's at. Let's face it. Everybody's seen Star Wars. Everybody loves Star Wars. What does everybody think back to? The ships flying around really super quick and it being great. That's what EVE is to me. It always has been. I've always been. If you look at Zedkill, if somebody links my Zedkill, it's not great, it's not pretty. But if you look at the ships that I fly, it's all sub cruiser class ships. It's your Stilettos, Raptors, Imperial Navy Slicers, Sabres, that sort of stuff. I've got. I mean, I can't remember exactly how many Raptor kills I've got now. Probably up to about 13,000 now. Which is I'm actually the number I'm actually the number 1 killer in Raptors, so in ETH apparently, which I find quite hilarious, to be fair, because it's just a cheap ship, and we've destroyed way more in Raptors than we've lost. If you're running around and you kill 10 billion in a night, if you lose a couple of people in the process, I don't think, as long as the people have had fun, that's the kind of thrust of it for me. As long as the people have had fun in the process, if they kill 10 bill, hopefully they're not going to be too disappointed if they lose a 50 mil ship. And if they are, just send me your lost man, I'll sort you out. It's, I'd rather people have fun and enjoy themselves. And I'll be honest with you, when feats don't go as I plan them to, I get like super. I don't get salty. That's not the right word. I get frustrated because pipe bombs. That's 2 words that trigger me straight off that will. I get frustrated because I know that people, your time is a commodity that is valuable to you. It's valuable to me because you're spending it with me, if that makes sense. I don't get paid for this. I don't get paid, so on and so forth. So I get enjoyment through doing this with you guys. I genuinely, when I don't FC, I do miss it, if that makes sense. So it's, yeah. There is a fit channel. Is there a fit that can be linked? I believe somebody linked it in the public channel earlier. There is I think there was an Eve workbench link. There's loads of fits on there. Put it this way, if you're in Jita, you don't need to have a fit in advance. You can just buy it off the market there. I can link it and so on and so forth. Jita 4.4, it's the best market out there for just sort of buying stuff quick.
I'm just saying which way I can figure out the fit.
Okay.
It was in that EBWF public. There's a link there that then takes you to Fun Inc. Fleet. Is it that one?
Yeah, that's the one. So if you join the public channel, I think there's a link to it within that. And if not, I know that somebody, I think, linked it in one of the channels in this Discord earlier on. I can't remember for the life which one it was, so apologies.
You're in that, and in that first Fleet fit channel, there's another link to the shrink wrapped fits, which is that looks quite extensive.
Yeah, exactly. There's like 10 down there. I mean, to be honest, you could probably just reduce it to 1 and just bring a point, web, track, damp, and just pack all in one, and then that way you can just rotate as around. As Mother says, just go to my Z kill. You'll find any of my losses will be a doctrine fit. It's the easiest way. Then don't judge me on my fit. But yeah. So if there's any, I don't know if there's any more questions. If anybody's got, and I did mention, our SRP only doctrine fits. We're also going to do some bingo as well. So you'll be given you can register a bingo card. Just keep an eye on the bingo card, and as and when, I'll say things like, right, what we're going to do here is, and that'll be a bingo thing, or it'll be like, right, I want you to fleet burn up, or something like that. It'll be a bingo reference. So you got to keep on your toes on these fleets, guys. And you might actually win something in the process. I can't remember what though it's going to be, but we'll just wing it. I've got a load of partner skins to give away. In fact, I haven't even given any of July's out. I've been that busy, and I've got half of June still left. So you might actually go win a chicken dinner on this tonight, guys. So, any more questions or anything you want clarified, confirmed, or any like random questions like cats or dogs, or something like that? Or always.
I don't have a question, but I'm new, bro. I've only been playing since May, and these NPSI fleets are the most fun I've had in this game. And there's a steep learning curve at the beginning, I think, but it is so fun, and you'll see 3 or 4 hours just melt away. You look at your watch and it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, and you don't know where the time's gone. It is just so fun. So I would absolutely endorse it to anybody who's a few months in like I am. It really is so accessible. People are so friendly, so patient. Instructions are really clear. It's just fantastic.
That's awesome to hear. I think you've flown with us before as well, haven't you? I recognise the name, I'm sure. I hope you have if you haven't come on this afternoon. or evening.
Oh, I have, and I'll be there this evening.
Nice. But yeah, no, I mean that's a brilliant endorsement. In all fairness, I think summed up perfectly. There is a bit of a steep learning curve. I think it's just different entities do things in certain different ways. I like to think I kind of use the traditional way of what's the word? Moving fleets around. It's fairly regimented once you know what it is. Once you understand how the recon's given, so on and so forth, it's and the different orders, you'll be golden. It's first fleet is a bit daunting for people, but once you get one under your belt, back on, come on to any other fleet. Oh, and let me just scan down the chat. I don't think I've missed any more questions. I think everybody, Spy confirmed, definitely. Flying Logic, I don't know how you guys do it, bait on those. Because those, what's the word? My target calling is, because you're moving around so much in the Raptors, and because the speed, if you go on overheat, 7.5K or whatever it is, before, you'll have one primary, and then all of a sudden there'll be a primary 50K, 60, 70K away, and then you've got to keep up with it. So I don't know how you do it, guys. And pipe bombs, yes. Always feel dirty after that, to be honest, but yeah, as Laura said, there's the feedback form. Pop up some feedback. Everybody wants to, if I've got a kind of open door policy. If anybody wants to ask me any questions, like if something comes to mind post this, just DM me. As long as it's not, I'm on grid and I've got these targets. What target should I call first? It will change every second. Which hopefully you'll see tonight. Yeah, so that's it for me. 25 minutes. Hopefully see you in fleet. Jita 44 EBWF Space Public. If I don't see you in fleet, have an awesome weekend. If I do see you in fleet, I'll see you in about 30 minutes. Bookmark the website. I thought I actually did. No, I didn't. Mustn't have saved it. No, I had it.
Thank you very much.
I added some QR code. I've obviously forgotten to save that file. So, but that's pretty much it from me. So thank you all. Hopefully, right. So Pascal Almaric, I'm going to ask you. I used to fly with you about 15 years ago, did I not? I did. I know. I reckon. That is bonkers. That is going back. Yeah, that's a long time. So welcome back. If you've been here the whole time, where have you been? Welcome back. I recognised. I saw your name pop into comms. I was like, nah, it can't be. I was mid-flow, so. But yeah, I was going to say I knew it would be that because you were agony, weren't you? Yes, you were. I'm sure of it. You were agony, and you used to fly. Oh, you used to fly early mornings with Darren and that lot. Yamir and Kaldak, I'm pretty sure. You used to fly at Drake a lot. I'm pretty sure you used to fly at Bait Drake quite. That's bonkers. Yeah, there you go. Drake Birds, that was it. Drake Birds, that was it. Anyway, sorry, guys. Totally segued there. Thank you all for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. If anybody's got any questions that come after the fact, post fact, just DM me. And enjoy the rest of NPSI week. Thank you very much for the invite, Laura. Hopefully that's kind of set everybody up for the rest of the week. So enjoy.
Thank you, Keacte. I do have an NPSI happening later tonight.
Yes, you do indeed. It's your birthday for you, for me, so it's correct.
It is. I hope to see you all there.
Happiest of birthday.
All right. Have a good one, everyone. See you later.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off comms for sort of 15 minutes. Yeah, cheers, guys, all the same. Yeah, cheers, guys. Take care.